book blogging, especially since this has undergone a bit of a transformation in that it's no longer just a monologue but a conversation. And we have, as part of our panel today, some of the leading Philippine book bloggers. And as Hani has mentioned, when we say leading Philippine book bloggers, to some extent, we're also talking about bloggers who have made a splash in the international scene. So, let's go with our first panelist. She is a children's and young adult literature blogger. She has been a judge for the 2009 Children's and Young Adult Bloggers Literary Awards and the 2010 Philippine National Children's Book Awards. So she likes judging things. She was a panelist at the recent Asian Festival.
You right now.
I know, I will never pass. Panelist at the recent Asian Festival for Children's Content in Singapore, and she spoke about building a nation of readers via Web 2.0. An introduction to the kid lithosphere and why a blogosphere. She blogs because one blog is not enough. She blogs at Into the Wardrobe and Asia in the Heart, World on the Mind. It is called to the table, Ms. Tarie Sabido.
Hey.
Next up, we have a person whose name is almost synonymous with the idea of Philippine speculative fiction. He is an editor, a published author, and has been a speculative fiction blogger since 2006. He is basically our ambassador. All of us who write Philippine speculative fiction have a lot of respect for this man. So do many of the speculative fiction authors from around the world. In fact, they spearheaded a drive to basically create a fund which will help people who are outside, maybe the US and Canada, help people from outside the West to reach the Western conventions, or basically the international conventions on speculative fiction. And he is the first person who was chosen to benefit from this fund. So he blogs at Bibliophile Stalker and has been nominated in the Special Awards category of the World Fantasy Awards 2011. Mr. Charles Tan.
Hey! There you go. Good. Next.
Oopsie.
That was Tarie's fault.
It's always Tarie's fault.
Our next blogger, who we lovingly call President, is
our president.
Young adult and fantasy blogger, administrator of the Filipino Book Bloggers website and Facebook group, and blogs at Chachik's Book Nook. So you can already guess her name.
It's Lucy.
The one and only.
It's Lucy.
Chachik Fernandez.
Thank you.
Next, we have a literary blogger and one of the contributors to the ultra-popular Pelikula Tumblr, the film blog, and Fully Books magazine. He also blogs about books at fullybooked.me. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Aldrin Calanim.
Hey.
Last but not the least, to round up our panel, she is a literary blogger and published author. She contributes to the Philippine Online Chronicles and does book reviews for the Philippine Free Press. Her blog, Sasha and the Silverfish, has been a finalist in the Arts and Culture category in the 2010 Philippine Blog Awards. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Sasha Martinez. And finally, our facilitator for this panel, a woman who needs no introduction because I already introduced her.
Twing, twing, twing.
Ms. Mani de Paraga.
Thank you, Paul. So this is the panel on the why and how book blogging. We have 5 book bloggers here. Each book blogger will have their chance to speak. They'll have 10 to 12 minutes to talk about their own blogging story. And then after all the panelists speak, then you all have the opportunity to ask them your questions. Okay, so we'll begin with Tarie. Who's going to tell us her blogging story?
Hi.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Okay, my blog story. I actually have more than 2 blogs, more than 2 book blogs. The third one is Color Online, and it's a group blog. But I focus more on Into the Wardrobe and Asia in the Hard World on the Mind because those are really my personal blogs. So why did I start blogging about books? A friend of mine, this was in 2005. I've been blogging since 2005. And in 2005, a friend of mine asked me if I blogged. But this was in January 2005, and I had no idea what a blog was. So when she asked me, my answer was, "What's a blog?" And so she was trying to explain to me. She said, "Oh, it's like a journal, only it's online. Instead of pen and paper, you use the internet, you use your computer." So I thought, okay. So but I really respect this friend. So I started a blog just because she recommended that I start a blog. And so I was thinking of her definition. Remember, her definition was a journal. A journal, only it was using new technology. So I was writing very personal posts. But since I'm a bookworm, the posts were very naturally about books and the books I was reading. And so I did that. I blogged very personal posts, and I blogged about the books I was reading. And in 2007, I started receiving emails from authors around the world asking if I was interested in reviewing their book or in interviewing them. And my first reaction was, "What is this? And who are you?" What is this? I was really caught off guard because I didn't think anybody was reading my blog. I didn't even think the friend who had told me to start a blog, I doubt she was, I didn't think even she was reading my blog. So I thought, nobody's reading my blog. I was really treating it like an online journal. Nobody's supposed to read your journal, right? It's just for you. So I didn't think anybody was reading it, but I guess there were people reading it because I was getting approached by authors asking if I was interested in reviews or interviews. And of course I was interested because I'm a book lover. I jumped at the opportunity to read new books and to interact with published authors. So I said yes, and one of the things I said yes to was a blog tour. So of course, if it's a blog tour, there are other blogs are participating, and there's a schedule for the blog tour. So I started checking the other blogs on the blog tour, and that's when I was introduced to the Kid Litosphere. The Kid Litosphere is the family of bloggers who blog about children's literature. I blog about children's literature and young adult literature, but I focus more on children's literature. So I discovered this worldwide, this international family of children's book bloggers, and I was amazed. I was amazed by the passion of the bloggers. I was amazed by the quality of their content. It was high quality content for free on the internet about picture books, middle grade novels, anything connected to children's books. And I was really inspired by their passion. And when I saw these other children's book blogs, I made the decision to blog seriously. So I saw them, I saw blogs like Big A, Little A, Chicken Blog, A Fuse Number 8 Production. I'm not sure if you're familiar with these blogs, but these are the top blogs in the Kid Litosphere. Blogs like 7 Impossible Things Before Breakfast. And I was just blown away. So I thought, okay, I want to be like them in that I want to be passionate about children's books. So while I started my book blog in 2005, I started blogging very seriously in 2007. That was 2007. Okay. Wow, this is long. I'm so sorry because I have so many blogs. Okay, so that's Into the Wardrobe. That's Into the Wardrobe. And so that was in 2005 and 2007. And then come 2009, I was asked to join Color Online, which is a group blog, and it doesn't focus on children's literature. It focuses on women writers of color. So women writers of color, whether their books were for children or teens or adults, as long as the authors were of color, women of color. So I joined that group blog as like the Asian representative, because I'm the only one in the group who's actually Asian and in Asia. And so I'm like the Asian representative.